You've spent countless hours on your genealogy, digging through records and following up on every lead, and then all of a sudden, nothing. It's frustrating. And honestly, it can feel like you've hit the end of your family's story. But after years as a professional genealogist, I've seen that most people skip one step and it really sabotages their progress. Once you build this step into your research process, you'll stop circling those same dead ends and start uncovering the ancestors that you thought were lost for good. Genealogy is like Jenga. Now, it's pretty straightforward at first. Just grab a block and move it up to the top. No problem, right? Well, it gets trickier the higher up you go. When the tower starts to get really tall, you could grab a random block and hope for the best. Oops. But the astute Jenga player will take a minute and study the base of the tower and look for weak spots and work around them. It's the same with genealogy. We can keep trying to add more and more records, but if you're building on a shaky foundation, there's going to come a point where it all falls apart. So how do you make sure that you have a good, strong foundation? Well, just like the Jenga player looks at the base and sees how the blocks are that have been moved before, you need to go back into your research and see what you already have. First, have you covered your bases? It's tempting to just jump ahead, finding a new generation or pinpointing where an ancestor came from. And it's easy to focus all of your energy on that. But just like that Jenga tower starts with all of the slots filled in, you need to make sure that you've located all of the basic records that you would expect to find that ancestor in. I've heard so many people say that they don't have all of the census records for a person, and besides, it's not going to tell me anything new. I don't know about you, but I don't know what's in a record before I find it. Like this 1910 census, where the grandfather is living in the household. That's a nice bit of information to have. Now, once you have all of those bases covered, ask yourself, what do you really know? When I was just getting started in genealogy, I found a family Bible for one of my families at the Ohio Genealogical Society. And it had a page recording the marriage of my third great-grandmother to her fourth husband. Yes, fourth, no judgment. I added it to my family tree and started looking for Matilda and her new husband in Decatur County, Indiana. I spent ages looking for them and couldn't find anything. Then I went back and looked at that Bible record. It didn't say Decatur County. It said DeKalb County, which is completely different. You know, it's amazing. I found lots of records after I started looking in the right county. That one misread word, DeKalb, completely changed the course of my research. On the flip side, you might know more than you realize. You aren't the same researcher now as when you found that record. You have more experience, more knowledge, and more context. You could pick up on details that you completely missed before. Take this marriage record, for example. They were married by a minister, not a justice of the peace. If I can figure out what church he was with, I might be able to find some church records for this family. With genealogy, it isn't just what you know, but how do you know it? What kind of sources do you already have? Are they vital records, census records, probate, pensions? Or have you been relying a lot on other people's trees and things like Find a Grave? Now, other people's trees can give you some really good clues, but you don't want to take everything they say at face value. Your brick wall might exist because you've been leaning too heavily on sources that aren't accurate. Evaluating a source for accuracy is one of the best skills that a genealogist can have. Click on this video to see what to watch out for when you're looking at a source so that you can discover your real family history.